Hey
Hey
guys,
guys,
welcome to our channel.
I'm Elisha.
And I'm Charlie. So first we're just going to introduce ourselves and tell you guys a little bit about us. I use she, they, he pronouns as I am gender fluid, so it depends on the day. And not only am I bisexual, I am by myself.
My pronouns are she, they, but mostly she, her. I currently do not have a label on my sexuality, but I am in a committed relationship with my partner who may join us on future videos. I personally don't have many paranormal experiences, but Charlie here definitely does.
I'm not a medium, but I do have a few abilities. I am able to see and communicate with ghosts. And it took me a while to understand and accept that, and one of the experiences I'm going to be sharing in this video actually helps contribute to that. But when I was a kid, I used to see ghosts all the time. I had my imaginary friends, but there was one spirit particularly, and this is not meant to be racist in any way. This is the name that I was told by this entity and that I told my mother she was called. But my favorite playmate was China. And she was practically the only one I would play with, and there needs to be a bit of background information here. I barely watched any TV when I was younger. I was not exposed to anything violent whatsoever. But there was one day we were sitting in the kitchen. I'm pretty sure I was eating spaghetti. And I looked up and looked my mother dead in the eyes and said, "I want to slit your throat and watch the blood drain out of you." Obviously shocked, she looked over at me and she's like, "What did you say?" And I repeated it because I didn't know what I was saying wrong. And apparently I hadn't looked like myself in that moment. My voice had been deeper, my eyes were darker. And she's like, "Why would you say that?" And suddenly it was like, realization came over me. Like I blinked and I was like, "Oh, China told me to say it." And my mom's heart stopped. She called up her psychic friend. He's a lot more gifted than I am. And if one day, if you guys want to hear his story, I'll message him and ask if I'm able to share it. But she called him up and he told her to sage the house, that there was something trying to attach itself to me, that we needed to banish this entity from the home. And so we saged the house, we put up protective wards, and it was made clear that China was never allowed in our home again. And we later discovered that China was actually a demonic entity. And that would be the first time my mom ever truly believed in the paranormal. The time that her child almost got possessed by a demon.
Yeah, that's something definitely to remember.
Just a Kickstarter. My second experience that made me realize I wasn't going crazy was actually shortly after my great-grandmother died, and I called her Gigi. But I would always go upstairs to my room, and when my mom asked why I was going up there, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to talk and play with Gigi." And she would just smile and nod her head because she thought that was my way of coping with grief. But every day, well, afterwards, I came down smiling and in the most exuberant mood ever. And I think around 8 years later, my mom was at a massage. The woman there happened to be a medium, and she started doing a random reading on my mom. I'm not going to share everything that was said in that session because that is personal to her. But she looks at my mom and she's like, there's a woman here. She wants me to tell you to tell someone. I can't tell who. I can't tell if it's your daughter or a granddaughter or a niece. But she wants me to tell you that she misses their talks." And my mom stopped and she's like, "Is the woman saying anything else?" And the medium goes to describe my childhood bedroom down to the very last detail, including the corner where I always used to go up to communicate with my grandmother. That day, my mom came home and sat me down and told me the story. And that's the day I found out I was not schizophrenic, but I had indeed been talking to spirits and ghosts.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, that was a little bit about us. And now let's talk about what kind of videos we're going to be making. So we're obviously going to be making paranormal videos.
At the beginning, mostly paranormal games, the risks they come with, and we might play a few if we don't deem them too risky or if we have personally done them in the past and have experience with them.
We will also be sharing our experiences, and in the future, we'll be doing some investigations every once in a while.
Just until we have enough money to go to more expensive or interesting places, because we still need to get more equipment. Constructive feedback is always, always, always welcome, as on these types of videos, as well as tips and tricks to help us during our investigations or anything that you might notice about the editing, the way we're speaking, whether we're speaking too fast. Like, any constructive criticism is welcome, just no hate. If this is not the type of videos you enjoy watching, just click off. You don't have to stick around. Go back to your own little niche of the internet.
Yeah, anyways, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.